Mike Robledo with Rev'n News here. We're at the Goodguys Nationals here in Columbus, Ohio. I'm sitting here with Matt from Autometer. Matt, how are we doing today?
Very good, thank you.
Nice. Matt, for the people that could possibly not know what Autometer does, give me a little brief about what you guys do.
Autometer, we're the leading aftermarket gauge manufacturer for high performance and aftermarket instrumentation. We're the leader in street rod instruments, race car instruments, NASCAR, NHRA. If you have an automobile, we pretty much have a gauge for it.
So gauges. My car's got a gauge already. Why do I need an aftermarket gauge?
Most OEM instruments are very basic instruments. They're inexpensive, they're not accurate. Even Ford is very famous for having instruments in their vehicle, and even though you'll have a temperature range, they consider it, okay if it's in the middle. Even though you have a 100 to 250 gauge, if it's in the middle, it's okay, but you don't really know what your actual temperature is or what's going on with your engine. Aftermarket gauge gives you that real fine detail as to what is actually going on in the engine.
Nice. I am sure when you have thousands upon thousands of dollars invested into a motor, you want some precision.
Absolutely.
You guys are the experts when it comes to gauges. You deal with the consumer day in and day out. I'm sure in your day-to-day you encounter a lot of myths and misconceptions. What are some of those?
One of the common ones we get regarding temperature, a customer will hook up our temperature gauge. Our gauges are very accurate. Oftentimes they'll use infrared guns and they'll check the engine with this infrared gun that's just simply measuring surface temperature, and because that is lower than the actual temperature gauge, they call us and they think that something's wrong. But we like to use the analogy that, imagine hot coffee in a coffee mug. You pour the coffee in, you feel the coffee, it's very hot, the mug is warm, but it's not as hot. It's the same concept. Those infrared guns are not, some kind of magical X-ray type piece of equipment. They're just measuring the surface temperature, so not a good tool to measure.
Trust the gauge.
Yep.
The gauge knows the sending units inside the housing. That's the most accurate point of measurement.
We sell many different fuel level gauges. One of the most important thing when customers are buying a fuel level gauge is to match it to the sending unit in their vehicle. There's a vast array of options out there. Different manufacturers over the years have used different options. We have most of those options covered. We even have some programmable gauges that will cover everything, but that's a very important aspect of choosing the right gauge, is making sure that fuel level gauge is matched up to that sending unit in that vehicle.
So a gauge is just not a gauge. It really does have to be matched to what that sending unit is going to be to get a full reading.
Correct, with fuel level gauges. Of course, water temperature, oil pressure, when you buy an aftermarket gauge from us on that side, those are always going to come with a sender that's matched to that gauge.
So Autometer's constantly evolving, constantly developing new parts and products. Tell me about something that's new coming out from Autometer, or something new that's really kind of exciting for the industry.
Something we have right now that's really been exciting for this market is GPS speedometers. And it's a true native GPS speedometer. What we mean by that is, over the years there's been companies that have introduced separate modules, which is an expensive add-on piece that you add to an existing electronic speedometer that will give you those functionalities, but you still are buying an expensive separate part, wiring that in. The true native GPS speedometers that we have now are literally just a speedometer head. You put 12 volts in ground, and then there's a separate antenna, very small little puck that you would put on the dashboard, and it's ready to go. No more calibrating, no dealing with the transmission. Very simple, essentially a plug-and-play speedometer.
Wow, so a speedometer that is read by GPS, so it measures your speed by GPS. There's no more need for a cable to go into the trans, no more need for calibration. That is really quite some innovation. Have you seen a lot of guys adopting this already?
Absolutely. It's been out, and there's a lot of buzz, and we've had people throughout the show coming up asking about where is this GPS speedometer, and they almost can't believe, after all these years of dealing with a transmission and calibrating the speedo and putting a sender on the trans, replacing the cable, that it's literally that simple to have an accurate speedometer that quickly in your vehicle.
Gotta love technology, and Autometer definitely loves technology. You heard it here first. Thanks for watching.